Well, they have finally allowed me to get up and get myself somewhat together before I had to get online and start having conversations because it's getting kind of hectic out here. All this time I've been thinking to myself, okay, well, when is it that we need to start getting more focused and more active when it concerns the matters of the state? I'm going to call it the matters of the state. In looking out and looking at the situations that I am fielding, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. There are people who are playing around in the spiritual. They're testing themselves, they're trying some different things, and some people are quite skilled at what they're doing. Either way it goes, if you are blithely unaware that this even exists, then you're going to want to try to get with somebody who does know. Trying to figure it out at this point, if you are new to this game, don't. This is not the time, because there's just there's a rampant movement of negative spiritual energy moving through the cosmos. And for those who are aware of this, you know that you've had to be on point more than you usually do. So, what I'm here to do is to be a support, to remind you who you are and whose you are, that you are a child of God, that you are here to take care of business, and that you don't have to be worried or fearful about anything. Because if you're worried and you're fearful, then that's going to cloud your judgment. Your judgment's going to be off. Some of you have been operating in the spiritual realm. I'm going to say you all are seers, or you all are healers, or light workers, or, people that have been doing this work for a long time. And that's good. For those of you who have been on this wine press, I salute you and I congratulate you. Your services are going to be especially needed because you have seen a lot of different things and you've seen the way that things move, and by now you have mastered your practice. You've mastered how to deal with certain kinds of energies. My recommendation is stay in your lane. Don't try to do anything that you haven't done before. Only work in the area, the energetic area, that you are very comfortable with, that you can do with your eyes closed and your hands tied behind your back, okay? To try to take on some new kind of methodology, some new kind of anything, now is not the time to take that on. And I know the temptation is there because we're coming into a new year. We're getting ready for 2026. Sometimes we have New Year's resolutions. We have new things we want to do. New projects, things that seem like it's in line with what you've been preparing for, should be okay, but still stay prayed up about it because things can creep in that become distractions. Okay, and you want to try to stay away from the distractions as much as you can. Distractions are, your distractions by now too. So just remember that if you have to write it on a post-it note and stick it to the window and say, you know what, this is your distraction. So don't, when somebody says this, or somebody does this, or somebody like this shows up in your world, just remember it has always been a distraction. So it's not, that part's not going to change. God's not trying to trick you coming into this. The main thing is stay in your lane, stick to what it is that you know for sure about you and your movements. And outside of that, you're going to have to be moving with blinders on. You're going to have to be moving just like this. Like don't, don't. Don't look left or right. Look up. Looking up is the most important thing. So, I have got my grandmother cards out today, so I'm gonna let my grandmother speak to you all today. To the masses. All right. So she's saying to get your guns loaded, to make sure that you have your whole armor. Make sure that you have your ammunition. I'm not talking about real ammunition. We're not talking about the physical. I'm in the 5D with you right now. We're on another level. We're on another plane. I don't need folks going out packing, going to get metal. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your spiritual ammunition. We're talking about what fortifies you inside yourself in your darkest hour. Where do you go to when there's no one else around? That's your ammunition. You also have to not be afraid to walk forward in the world based on what it is that you know to be true. Okay? So she's telling you to get your guns ready. Your spiritual guns. Okay? There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some abrupt changes. There's going to be some unexpected changes. There's going to be some things that are going to crumble and come down because it's been time for them to come down. Anything that's associated with the ego, self-aggrandizement, trying to put yourself up high, trying to make, trying to get some kind of personal gain, none of those things are going to be rewarded as we move further into the millennium. We're in the 26th year of this millennium. This is just a jot and a tittle because a millennium, as you know, is 1,000 years. We're 26 years into a 1,000 year experience. This is the time where you want to spend time to yourself, alone, away, wherever that is for you. It could be that you have a special place inside your house that you go to meditate and pray. It could be that there's another location that you need to be at because you need to get away from the people around you. You have to be in a space where you feel yourself at peace without the distractions. Okay? The reason for this is because the light inside you has to grow. And if you are around people who are dampening your light, who are bringing your light into a little, who are trying to conceal your light, or if they're trying to dampen your light, or if they're trying to squelch your light, or bring some level of darkness around you, or if you find yourself in places where there's darkness that exists, darkness presents itself as fear. It can present itself as envy. It can present itself as wantonness, greed, lust. Um, um, you get the idea. You get the idea. But all of these things can steal your energy. It can take your energy. You have to be very, very mindful about that because everything that's moving is moving with a particular energy. And I know we sometimes get tired of hearing about energy. Oh, I don't like her energy. I don't know the energy in here. Some of that is, frou la la. But in reality, scientifically, everything has energy. Everything. Everything. So if you are attending to the energy of something versus the outside, what you're seeing in the physical, then you can discern more clearly. And some people think they're discerning, but they still looking at they still dealing with this right here, with this right here. You gotta you gotta expand. You gotta expand. And so this is what the hermit time is about. It's a time to be alone. So wherever you need to be alone, to get away from the dissonance, from the chaos, from the confusion, that's where you need to be. And that's where you're going to start to where things are going to line up and things are going to start to look good for you. Like, in other words, things then in the physical can become more present, more present, like there for you. The road to this is through your heart. It is not your mind. It is not your money. It is not your bank account. It is not about wealth management. It is about inner wealth management. It's about you understanding the wealth inside yourself and then utilizing the wealth in the physical. You got to understand yourself in the world. You got to be in the world, but not of the world. Okay? But you got to understand yourself in the world, your spiritual self, and that your spirit self is walking and existing and moving and making decisions and choices in the physical realm. And when your spiritual self makes a decision based on your physical self based on your spiritual self and in alignment with your spiritual self, then you are exacting and enacting and creating and manifesting and materializing that on earth. So this is why it is so imperative that you understand yourself. This is why it's so important that you embrace all of yourself, because all of yourself is needed. All of it. All of it. You just have to know how you're going to use your energy in the world. And be careful about how you use your energy in the world. Because some of you all, you know what you're doing? You're using your energy arguing with people who don't understand. Some of you are using your energy to try to convince someone of something that you already know is true. Some of you are using your energy to, feed somebody else's machine. Some of you are using your energy to stay in the past because you're afraid to move forward. Some of you are using your energy to try to control your narrative and control your environment and control whether or not somebody does this or that. You're using it to try to control, and that's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to try to control somebody. A lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to shoulder someone else's depression and fear and anger and disappointment. It takes a lot. So for those of you who are around people who are carrying that, and then you're carrying that, and you're wondering why you're so tired every day, it's because you're trying to shoulder somebody else's. It takes too much energy. So you have to think about how you're going to utilize your energy in 2026. How am I going to use this in here, down here? Because those of you who are looking out around you and you're saying to yourself, hey, things are not looking good, what are we going to do about it? And you don't see a way out, and you're and nothing is making any sense, and you're feeling powerless, that is a lie. If you feel powerless, you're already believing the lie that's been told to you from somebody or something, and you actually believe that is true. It is not true. They're asking us to be patient, to take our time. These last few days of as we are approaching the new year, and all of this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, we going by the Gregorian calendar, and some people living by the Mayan calendar. Some people living by their spirit, which is what you should be living by. But what I'm saying is that at this moment, this is the time when collectively we can begin to, look at the season, look at the changes, and then start to think about what changes truly need to be made. Okay? Take your time. Be patient. Wait for the timing. When the timing is correct, then the timing is correct. So while you're waiting for the time, while you are assessing your value, while you are reviewing your portfolio, when you're looking back over time at all that you have accomplished, all that you have overcome, everything that you have said and done, and then seen the results of, that's what you're doing during this time. You're looking, you're seeing, you're making an assessment, you're giving yourself the time to contemplate, to reflect, and not on what went wrong or what you think is bad, or um, what you feel guilty about, shamed about, indifferent about, blocked about. It's not about that. That's not what they want you to use this time to do. They really want you to see how you have overcome and what you gained from the experiences that you've been having. Because in those things, there's a little seed inside of each of those things that have grown in you. And that's the seed that God wants you to see. That's the seed that the spirits want you to see. That's the seed that your ancestors want you to see. They want you to embody what has been placed in you, that came with you when you arrived on this scene, when you took your first breath. Before you took your first breath, you were already set for this cause, for this purpose, for this life, for this journey, for these steps, for these hardships that led to these joys, these triumphs, these gold medals, these trophies in the spirit realm. And when you recognize that, then you can also see it in the physical. You can see where it exists in the physical. Because if you're not seeing your rewards manifested in the physical, it's simply because you're not looking at them. It's because your eyes haven't been opened so that they can be seen, so that your eyes can perceive it, because it is there. It does exist. So take your time and use your time wisely. Oh boy, a lot of problems. For some of you, there's a lot of problems, a lot of issues. There's a lot that's been on you. You've taken on too much. Some of you are having a pity party because you have taken on too much. You have been overloaded and overwrought because you decided to do that. You decided to take that on. Something in your spirit knew that you could handle it. But at any given time, you can always say no. You can always say stop. You can always say, you know what? Enough. I have had enough. Okay? And I'm no longer doing that kind of work. That's not the purpose that aspect of me, that that role, that duty, that work that I was doing, holding on to everybody's stuff. I'm not doing that work anymore. I'm not in that business. That's none of my business anymore. I'm no longer doing those things. But, I can make some recommendations. There's some things that I can suggest to you that may help you feel better, or that may, be a little something that you can take with you and work on your own in your own time. When you're in your own hermit mode, finding your light, you can do that. And I don't have any problems doing that or helping you with that. But I'm no longer in the business of taking shorts. I'm no longer in the business of taking on burdens. I'm no longer in the business of shouldering other people's pains or other people's disappointments in life. I'm no longer in that in that role. Many of us who are light workers and who are healing workers, who are also empaths, who have been doing this work for some time, it's so that we could understand people and we would know how to speak life into their lives, but it is not about holding that and retaining that for long periods of time. You just, in other words, you're feeling it and sensing it only so you can understand it from an empathic standpoint, so that you can empathize. And that word empathize gets confused with sympathy. It's not the same. It's so that you can feel what the other person is feeling, so that you will know how to guide them out of the darkness. It doesn't mean get in the darkness and wear the darkness and let them drop their darkness on you and let them put something, let them come and dump on you and then you feel like crap later. That's not what it's about. The other thing here is the disappointments, the things that you're still, that still haunt you, the things that still plague you. It's something on your mind. For some of you, it's something on your mind. And whatever it is that's on your mind is dead. It's over with. This is over with. It's over with. It's been over with. It's been dead. It's been, look at this. Look at the person with the arm underneath the couch. It's over with. So you're still travailing over something that it's dead and over with. If it's dead, if the spirit is dead, if people keep coming with the same stuff, you got to let it go, folks. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so for some of you in the cipher, there is time to make a commitment. This is about signing your name on the dotted line. It's about saying, I am behind this. This is what I can comfortably sign off on. For some of you, this is an actual business deal. For some of you, this is a spiritual contract. For some of you, this is, and for all of you, it is personal. Even if you're going into contract with another person, that which allows you to comfortably and without any kind of question sign your name on the dotted line that says, yes, I'm behind this. That's where you have to be. For those of you who are talking about spiritual commitments, same thing. What is it that I know that I can feel confident signing my name to? I'm doing this, you know. For some of you, this is a relationship. It may be a marriage, or it may be a relationship or some kind of commitment that you are going into with another person. You have to have in your mind, yes, I endorse, I support, I'm behind this. I'm willing to give this my time and my energy because of whatever. And you have your reasons. But it's not going to be attachment to some negativity now. Don't commit yourself to that because you're telling yourself, "Oh, but I want to help somebody." Don't do that one. That's not, if you're doing that, no, that's not what we're doing. This is what's going to get you ahead. This is what's going to cause you to have good movement. This is what's going to keep you ahead of the pack. And it's not about competition or being in a race. When I say ahead of the pack, that means that whatever it is that's in your past is behind you and you can go forward clean and clear and with good movement. And that's what you want to be able to do at this day and time. Remember what I said about the distractions? See all these people and all this stuff in the background? That then becomes background. That's your background. That's your green screen pictures going on right here. But in real life, it's just you. It's just you. And so your role, your purpose, your actions, your decisions, what you decide to do, Make sure that you're in alignment. Make sure that you have done these things. Make sure that you spent that time and been alone and doing all whatever it is that you need to do. For some of you, and this is for the ladies, this is for the divine feminine. This is a message for the divine feminine. They want you to square up. They want you to put all of your pieces in place. So for those of you who are connecting in one way or the other to the divine feminine, for those of you who connect um, to that notion, and all of you will be connecting to that notion because that's where we're moving into. The divine feminine is being honored in this millennium. The last millennium was really for the masculine. This millennium is for the feminine. So for those of you who are at the place where you can begin to connect to the energy of the feminine, they are saying for you to square up. That means to put your put your things in place. What I'm seeing is the cardinal directions: the north, the south, the west, and the east. And I don't know, with the camera I might be might be looking in the wrong place, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You need to make sure that your bases are covered. You're making sure that all parts of yourself, what's in front of you, what's behind you, and what's on either side of you, is representative of you in your divine feminine, in your divine feminine state. This is how you are going to be able to draw to you that which you need in the physical, because this is the Queen of Coins. Queen of Coins is about the physical, right? This is so that the resources that you need, the people that you need, the money that you need, all of what it is physically in the physical that is supportive of your spiritual self on planet Earth is being delivered, okay? But in order for that to happen, you got to make sure what's in front of you, what's behind you, and what's on either side of you. For some of you, your support system may be your friends, it may be your family, it may be one other person, could be God, angels, his assembly, it could be your spiritual, could be your ancestors. Wherever you feel like you are fortified, you need to make sure you have that fortification. Your concepts, your ideas, the way that what you're thinking about doing next physically, the things that your spirit is drawn to and that you are called to, that you are staying on the course, that you are staying the line, that you're holding the line for what it is that you believe to be true and that is important for your spirit. That is very important. And then, of course, you're going to make sure that your ancestors, those people who come before you, make sure you feed your ancestors. Make sure you give honor to your ancestors. Make sure that you are thankful for everything that you have experienced yourself. So when we think about what is behind us or our past, that we honor the past, that we honor what we have done, that we honor the journey that we have made, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then also the journey of our ancestors, the journey of our parents, the journey of our grandparents, our great grandparents, everything that has informed your present, that you give thanks and gratitude for that, because those are your teachers. Those are your best teachers, especially if it was something difficult, right? That's the best teacher. So they want the divine feminine to square up, to get close to your heart, to get close to your heart space, to clear your heart space, and make sure that you are fortified on all ends. The Princess of Wands here, again, this is for the divine feminine. Be creative. They want you to use your creative faculties. These are usually things that don't require your speech. Ladies, you know we want to tell you something. Let me tell you something. We want to talk. We're talkers. We have to talk amongst ourselves. Women, we have to talk amongst ourselves. We have to get with each other. We have to communicate with each other. But then once we start to make our moves, You're moving with something that doesn't require you to talk, okay? That's where you're going to garner that energy. That's why you're alone. That's why you're by yourself, okay? Um you're going to want to um yeah, whatever these things are, there are things that you can do in silence, right? There are things that I don't know if it's dancing, I don't know if it's painting, writing, gardening, something that anything that you do with your hands that doesn't require you to talk, anything that you can do that doesn't require you to open your mouth. That's the creative things that they want you to tap into, because this is going to help you to understand yourself differently. Sometimes we're so busy trying to get people to understand us, and the more we talk, the less they understand. But sometimes when you just be quiet and don't say nothing, then all of a sudden people understand what you're talking about, right? Again, more of the feminine energy. This is another message um about using your crown chakra. This is amethyst, chevron amethyst, danburite. I'm calling out all the stones that are really good for this. Clear quartz. I'm also getting rose quartz, but a rose quartz point for some of you, not the round soft one, but the point. Okay. All of these stones will be really good for your crown chakra. Peridot, also good for your crown chakra. But they want you to connect to your crown chakra, and they want you to connect this to your throat chakra. So for those of you who do meditation, you can take one hand, put it on the crown of your head, because this is the exit point. I'm using my right hand. My hands don't have polarity because I'm a Reiki practitioner. Y'all that are Reiki practitioners, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have polarity in my hands. It's no longer polarity. Anyway, you put one hand on top of your head, one on your throat chakra, and breathe into it. Remind yourself that you are connected to a higher spiritual voice, and that voice speaks through you, through your being. You are connected to a higher spiritual force and voice, and that voice speaks through you creatively first. So that's why they want you to be creative. That's why we're going to take the stones and do the meditation and connect it to our throat chakra, to our voice, so that our voice can be heard in the way that our voice needs to be heard. Because sometimes it is not about your physical vocal cords vibrating and your tongue moving and your mouth moving and people listening, because you be like, you're not listening to me. If they're not listening, then be quiet. It's okay. Let's see what else I got to say for my ladies. All my single ladies. All my single ladies. I ain't getting ready to talk about that because I done heard on the grapevine who was with who. Anyway. All right. So, for those of you, ladies, who are in the position to give your heart, give your love, give of what you have. Now, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. I said those of you who are in a position to give from your heart. What position is that, pray tell? The position is you are not tired, you are not drained, you are not unfulfilled, you are not angry, you're not resentful, you're good. You're happy, you're joyful, and you have plenty to share. If you are in the position to give from your heart, right, to a significant other, a male person. Now, I know that I am speaking to an audience of people. Some people are non-binary. Some people do not identify. That's all okay. What I'm talking about is the masculine versus how the feminine moves. The feminine moves in a certain way, the masculine moves in a certain way. I'm not talking about your gender identity. I'm not talking about whether you have a penis or a vagina. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the masculine. So for those of you who are operating in the feminine, where you are in a position to give from the heart, right, to the masculine, okay, you have to remember that the masculine is really, honestly, they're like little boys, right? They're making decisions. They're like little boys making decisions, right? Look at this is a little boy with some clothes that look like they're too big for him, and they're trying to make a decision and they don't know whether to do this or this, and sometimes their minds are crossed or whatever. You have to remember when you're dealing with the masculine energy that energy is in the state at this moment, and not always. So masculine, don't y'all come down on me about this. Not always, but at this time, the masculine energy is in the boy form. Little boys making decisions. We have to remember, and the people out there who are mothers of boys, you all will know what I'm talking about. So if you are a woman who has had a male child and you know what it's like to have a little boy, let's say somebody is, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood, you know what they're like. You have to remember that part. Boys are very sensitive at that age. They're tender still at that age before they become men, before they start becoming man, before they start getting hair on their chest and they start smelling themselves and start, rearing up, right? There's a sweetness to them. There is a curiosity. There's joviality in them. They're curious and moving and all of that kind of stuff. So you have to remember that. I don't know how that's gonna resonate with the current leadership that we see. But understanding that, it will help you at least not operate in fear. Because if the masculine is operating as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy, there's really nothing to fear there. It's just more or less an understanding that has to be reached so that those who are a little further down the road, parents and grandparents and people that are around the little boys, can start to, have conversations or, say it's okay, you'll be all right, and, mama loves you, you're okay, or whatever it is that you need to do, okay? You got to remember that. You're the adults. Divine Feminine. All right, so some of these male people, there's your male person, are attempting to control the divine feminine as it relates to, how do I want to say this? Oh, this is kind of hard. Okay, let me just say what it is. So this card represents the three graces. The three graces, for those of you who know your what is that? Your Roman mythology, whatever mythological realm that the three graces comes from. You'll know that they are feminine. These are feminine energies. These are feminine. They are represented by the feminine, right? Happiness, joy is one of them. Poetry and creativity is another one. Another one is beauty, pure beauty, this kind of thing. Sometimes what's happening, or what has been happening, is that people want to control that. You will notice that when you are feeling happy, when you are feeling joyful, when you're feeling beautiful, when you're feeling like you want to express yourself creatively, You will notice that sometimes there are people around you who are going to try to stop that. They're going to try to put a block on that energy. That is masculine energy trying to control feminine energy of joy, beauty, love, poetry, creativity, all of that. That which brings us a measure of happiness and joy down here on planet Earth when, sometimes we need it. So, why do people do this? I could not tell you, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's a lack of understanding, it's a lack of, sometimes it's fear, and sometimes it's a lack of understanding of the feminine. It's not understanding that that's what you're blocking. You're If a person is not aware that the feminine energies are those things, joy and happiness, these are all things that everybody enjoys. They're not aware that what you're blocking is that. You're not blocking a person. So if there is a control mechanism in place, and that's what the Four of Coins represents, control. If there's a control mechanism in place to stop that or to prevent that or whatever, then you have to look at the person who's trying to stop it. Why might they want to stop it? Because 9 times out of 10, the person who's doing the controlling mechanisms, they're not going to tell you what it is. You can ask them and have conversation after conversation and discussion after discussion. You know what? They're probably never going to tell you why they're doing it, because they, a lot of times, don't know why they're doing it. They just know that they're doing it. And the why is buried. The why is probably something from childhood. The why could have come in with them from the other side, karmic debt. You have to look at people's astrological charts and look at the Chiron and where it's placed. Then that will help you understand where they are karmically in their overall life cycle, right? So for some people, that's what's going on with them. But like I said, a lot of times they don't even know themselves why they're doing it. They just know that, okay, this is how I am. And I love it when you get that from the control freaks. Well, this is just how I am. Okay. This is how you are, or this is what you have become. All right. So remember that you are also a child at heart. Remember your little girl. Remember the divine feminine child within you. Okay? And everyone has it. Everyone has it. All people have a divine feminine and a divine masculine. And all of you have a divine feminine child and a divine masculine child in you. And the divine feminine in you comes with the heart. That's your heart space. That's your love space. That's when you, how you feel on the inside. Everybody has that, because everybody's got feelings. Everybody's been disappointed. Everybody's been hurt. Everybody has felt joy. Everybody has been excited at least once in their life. So that feeling place, that part of you that can sometimes feel like precarious, like, I don't know, I want to feel happy all the time, but I don't, and I wish I could do more of this and that. All of that is the part that you are nurturing at this time and becoming aware of at this time. And this is something that needs to happen before or as you are connecting to the masculine. Okay? So when you are connecting to the masculine energy, remember the heart of the child that gives, that loves, that feels, that expresses without filters sometimes, that cries sometimes, that loves unconditionally, that doesn't mind embracing that. That's what they want you to do. Come on now. This is not, this is good. Let me see. Hmm. Um, More information for the divine feminine. This is going back to the very beginning when it was said that you have to get your ammunition, get your guns loaded. The reason why you're getting your guns loaded is because you don't want to end up in a trap. This goes into that message about controlling, trying to control the feminine, trying to block the feminine, trying to box the feminine in, blind, pull the wool over the feminine's eyes when the feminine knows more than the average sucker, right? Um, these are things that will keep you blocked in or locked in. They don't want you to end up in that. Okay? So anything that feels that way, and you'll feel it when it happens, you're gonna feel it in your body. You'll be like, oh my God, here it is again. Control mechanisms, right? That are intended to box me in. I'm not getting ready to be boxed in. So you have to be direct with them. This is the Prince of Swords. This is the Knight of Swords in the tarot deck. But the Prince of Swords is about being a warrior. And what kind of warrior are you? You the warrior with the and with the so your mind has to be clear, and what you say you have to mean. That's the reason why you got to be quiet. That's why you got to do stuff and not speak. Because then that's going to help you get all of this together. You're going to be doing your meditation with your throat. You're going to be doing your meditation with your heart. You're going to be reconnecting with your divine young feminine. You're going to do all of those things, being by yourself, taking your time, doing your thing, doing your thing. And out of that, you are going to be able to see what's boxing you in, what's hemming you up. And you'll be able to speak to that in the spirit. You'll be like, hey, wait a minute. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not supporting that. Uh-uh. I'm not encouraging that kind of energy in my life. So if you're gonna do all of that, then we won't be talking, or you can call me later, or we can not talk at all. Do you see what I'm saying? This is where you have to be. You have to be vigilant. You have to be vigilant over your divine feminine. You have to be you have to protect yourself. You can ask for protection, ask God for protection all the time, right? And God will protect you, but sometimes you're gonna have to speak. That's why your throat's being activated. There goes that star card. Those are my givers. Those are my spiritual energy givers. I appreciate you all so much. Stay close to the water. Do work with water. Connect with water. They want you to connect with the water. Some of you, when you connect with your water, you're also connecting to a line. This is now we're talking about your patrilineal line, your divine masculine, right? Now this is about you tapping into your divine feminine, for those of you who are connected with the divine feminine. But what you're going to find when you do that is that the impetus or the means or the how you're going to work your abundance that comes from that is going to come from your patrilineal line. For some of you, either your father or your grandfather or your great grandfather, whatever, they might have been a businessman. They might have been some kind of very practical person with practical advice. This goes two back. It's like your father and your grandfather. So I think it's either, for some of you, it's your grandfather, your great grandfather, or your father. But through the father's line, there is a gift of being able to take that which you have in your heart and to actually make it be something of practical use, of that will be beneficial to you in the physical on the earth. That's what the masculine is for. See, what I'm getting from this reading right now is that we have to truly understand the masculine and the feminine. We have to understand how it really works. That's when we talked before about 2026 being about the duality was going to be there. You're going to have to address the dualities. You're going to have to address the binary aspects of planet Earth. That's not to say that, you are who you are and nobody's trying to tell you to be anything other than who you are, but we're talking about energetic principles that you have to understand so that you will know how to move in the world. So for some of you, your abundance is connecting. You're connecting to your abundance. You're going to be doing work with water. Some of you need to be doing some kind of water ritual, something where you put a bowl of water and you pray and then empty the water, or it could be that you pray and get in the water and take a bath, whatever it is that you need to do. But this connection with the water is also connecting you to the abundance of the earth and the abundance of all that exists around you, so that you will be able to access this place. And then this masculine or the patrilineal ancestral line, somebody is going to help you know what to do with that. Okay? Ooh, I think this is probably the longest reading that I have given, and I'm thankful for it. I'm grateful for it. I'm going with the flow. I'm not operating in a time sequence. I'm not trying to do that in my life. I haven't been, and I've been struggling with that. But now I'm starting to get better at it. See what I'm talking about when you go to your past and you see how you've grown? I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you're having a wonderful life.